Hello. This is a bootcamp session for Best Year Yet, those taking part in the Best Year Yet workshops where we are helping people, specifically artists who work in 2D, 3D, to help design their own lives and really make 2023 their best year yet. And we're doing that by getting really clear on what it is that we want and deciding whether we want to take pressure off ourselves, push ourselves, make more art, make more sales, and defining that and breaking down the next step so that we actually make it happen. So the workshops are delivered over 4 videos, but this session we fast track and we're going to go through the questions at a faster rate so that we're not in our own heads and we're just working through this. Now, if you have been taking part in Best Year Yet, you can look back at your notes. These are my notes, which is why I like doing boot camp. Because if you end up with a pile of stuff like this, you can't make sense of it. So it's time to park all of that away and just bring everything to the surface. We've had time to contemplate what we want. We've had time to think. Now it's time to just write down what comes to the surface. So I'm going to grab my pencil because I left it over here. And all you need for this session is pen, paper, or you can do this digitally if you want to get a notebook and write it into a computer or a device. I sound like a dinosaur, those things that we use. I've got my Best Year Yet journal where I'll be writing my stuff. So like I say, you can either hide all your notes away and just see what comes up to the surface as we go through the questions. Or you can, I'll ask you a question. We're going to work through this together. And if you want to look back at your notes, you can. We want to try and not do that as much as possible. But sometimes you might just have something you think, oh gosh, I wrote something down. What was it? Let me go and check what that was. But we don't want to do boot camp by trawling and reading through everything that we've done so far. Okay, so good morning, everyone. I'll say hello and then we'll get stuck in. You don't need a scarf, Victoria. That's optional. It's like the cape. This is like, it's going to give me superpowers. Joe is freezing in Devon. Yes, I am freezing here. I have to say, I would sit here with my coat and hat on, but I would look ridiculous. Lee's best tuning in from sunny, cold Rotterdam. Yes. Boot up the bum camp. Sandra, you make me laugh. Hello, Nish. And hello, new members. Yes, thank you for reminding me. Oh my gosh, we have new members joining us, which is so exciting because we love when we do these Best Year Yet sessions because we bring in new lovely people and our group expands and it's so nice. And a quick reminder, everyone, if you're signing up for the annual subscription, the bonus to have a session with me where I'll get to look at your goals and give you advice if you're not moving forwards runs out in 1 hour. There are other bonuses for people that are signing up if you don't catch that one, so don't worry. But if you want that access to me in that Zoom session, it expires in the next hour. So, it's good to see you all here. Look, you're all ready and raring to go. It sounds chilly. Is anyone in a warm place? Because everyone's saying it's. Brian says I'm actually wearing a scarf. It makes me feel comfortable, like it's my superhero cape. Did you write that after I just said that I feel like a superhero? Okay, so right, let's get stuck in. Okay, I've still got the cough. I just feel like I'm going to have a cough forever now. So excuse me if I'm coughing throughout this session. So I'm going to read out some questions. Get your pen and paper. You can write your answers in the comments if you want to. You can write them in your notebook. You can cement them down on a piece of paper, or you can just think them through. One thing I do recommend doing is getting Best Year Yet out of your head. I saw a few people recently saying, oh my gosh, I'm getting a bit overwhelmed, but I still haven't written anything down yet. And you do have to get out of your head onto paper, because you're going to fill your head with questions and ideas and thoughts. You do have to download. This is another reason Bootcamp is great, because we're going to get it all out of our heads. You don't want to be carrying best year yet inside your head. You just want one step inside your head, not the whole of best year yet. It's good sometimes just to have a contemplate of best year yet and have it in your head, but you don't want to continue after this session with the whole of best year yet inside your head. So let's get it out of our heads. Okay. What's one of the biggest achievements or breakthroughs you've experienced in your art? Could be from last year, could be maybe a bit beyond. What's one of the biggest achievements or breakthroughs that you've experienced in your art? Go. I'm going to write down mine now. Excuse me. I should have this up on the screen, actually. So your biggest achievements or breakthroughs experienced in your art. Okay. Nish says, yeah, I've had it in my head. I'll be putting it to paper later today. Yeah, I really struggled to write it down this time. So go back over this session, listen to the replay, and then you'll be able to get it out of your head. Sarah said, accepted into an online exhibition. Brilliant. So mine was discovering that this was a big one for me. It was discovering that my whole art is around the word imprint. And I mean my art for the last 20 years. I can't believe I never saw it. And that's one big thing that's massive for me. And the other thing is realizing the reasons really why I have to make art. For some reason, I've only just discovered that this year after all these decades of making. It's crazy. And also for me, one big thing in this art discovery is realizing that for me, my creativity has changed. Like now it encompasses lots of facets of being a creative person, not just art. And I really struggled with that for a long time, because art used to be my life, just painting, and now it isn't. And so I've learned a lot about myself in terms of that, and coming to terms with that as well has been massive for me. Right, next question. If I could design my own life, if you could design your own life, this is how it would look, feel, and be. So just write down whatever comes to your head. Try not to overthink this one, because I'm just coming out with things and I just don't know what's going to come out of my brain. It's interesting when you do this. There's different ways you can do this exercise. You can go on an automatic, like just put yourself on the spot. If I could design my own life, this is how it would look, feel, be. Not overthink the question, just write whatever comes out. And so you saw then I was just like writing, and sometimes you just don't know what's going to come out. Other times you might have to ponder the question and go back to it and think, you know, a little bit more. I was not in my head then. I was just literally just writing. I don't even know if I was answering the question. It's just stuff was coming out. But you know, you can contemplate the question a little bit more and just really fit. You can even, if you are a person that visualizes, like, how could I see my life in the future? And sometimes when you think about that, you might, like for me, I see the sunshine. Of course, I can't control that. Well, good, I can move somewhere warm, I guess. But yeah, when I think designing my own life, I start to see warmth and calmness is a big one. And that was what I put here actually. For me, it was kind of words that came out of that one. I was putting freedom, calm, 100% present with my children, being mindful, unleashing what's locked inside of me. I don't know where that one came from. That just came out. Obviously, I feel like I've got things locked inside of me. And then this last one, I put order. I'm like, I want order. See, I was hoping to have this is why it's interesting to just see what comes out, because if I was going to really think about that question, I'd probably put more, I don't know, I'd probably put different things on there, but that's what came out. So there we go. I'm not overthinking it. I'm just going to draw the line and go on to the next one. Okay. So if I'm going too fast for you, remember, you can go back and watch the replay, press pause when you're watching the replay if you need a bit more time. I like to rapid fire through this so I'm not overthinking. But if you want more time to think, you can watch the replay, press pause and have more time. Okay. If there is one thing you could choose to do in 2023, what would that be? If there was one thing, just one that you could choose that someone would say, here's a wand, I'm going to make this happen for you in 2023, what would it be? Don't overthink. Book. It's easy for me. Linda's just arrived, not sure what's going on. We're just going through the best year yet boot camp. So we're answering questions. You might want to watch the replay later. I'll do a quick recap of the questions that we've asked so far. What are your biggest achievements and breakthroughs that you've experienced in your art? If you could design your own life, how would it look, feel, and be? And if there's one thing you could choose to do in 2023, what would that be? That's what we're just on at the moment. Start from there, maybe. Just one thing that you could do in 2023, what would that be? No thinking, write it down. Be happy, Joanne. Yeah. Get one piece of art or design discovered. Nice. Be successful. Okay, so if you can choose 3 words to describe how you want to feel in 2023, what would that be? So the other one is what would you like to do? Doesn't matter if you've answered it already. Just see what comes out. Choose 3 words to describe how you want to feel in 2023. Okay. Right. Content, creative, happy, validated, thriving, joyful, harmonious. Nice. I've got in flow, in control, unlocked. There's something around this being locked. I did not know. It's just coming out in this session. How interesting. Okay, so right, next one. I have to make sure I don't lose track here. Okay. Right. All right, so this one, you might be overdone with words now, so you might not want to do this one, but if you could choose one word that sums up the year, what would that be? You might have already chosen your word. I have. Mine is flow, so that's easy for me. But I do this question now because some people maybe are still stuck. So those questions before that we've just answered might lead you to what the one word is for the year that sums up, where you want to focus, or what the word of 2023 is If you don't have answers to any of these questions, it's okay. You can just put a big question mark there and come back to it. So okay, so now I want you to think about what's the one limiting belief that you have right now that is getting in your way? What's come to the surface as you've been going through best year yet, or if you haven't gone through best year yet, um, is there something when you think about what it is that you want from 2023, is there a doubt in your mind that goes, but you don't have this, or but you're rubbish at this, you're not organized, you're not as good as other people, you don't have enough money, you're too old? Just one of those, bring it to the surface now in terms of achieving that goal. So, you know, that one that I said, what's the one thing that you, if you're going to choose one thing in 2023, what is it? Okay, so for me, it's the book. What was yours? Now I want you to think, is there something, is there a seed of doubt you have about achieving that? Is there some, and I'm going to have a think now about the book because I know I have lots, but we just need to bring one to the surface. You might need to just jot a few down and then circle them. So I'm just jotting. I'm on a live call yet. So yeah, choosing one limiting belief. So for me, I have a few. So for me, I'm going to just write mine out now. Time, being published, having dyslexia. I think the biggest one, actually, and I think this is where the locked and unlocked thing comes from. I think I've built a limiting belief that the book is trapped inside of me, that it's stuck inside of me. So I think now I'm saying this out loud, I've built up this belief that it's stuck and I can't get it out. So so for me now it's about reframing. So what we want to do is reframe that belief to, you know, the book isn't stuck. I can unlock. So I am going to unlock this year. And that's why one of my words is it's flow, because I want to be in flow and release. So it's reframing that. So the way you reframe a negative belief or limiting belief is just by either describing the opposite. So I don't believe that I can sell. You have absolutely every opportunity and chance to sell. And it's reframing it. And I want you to do that now, reframing it, starting to talk about the opposite. This is possible. I can do this. I can get more money. Whatever it is, I'm not too old. There are people within this community in their 70s and 80s who are only starting to do this process and they're starting to sell their artwork. So it's that kind of thing. How can you reframe that thought you have about that one goal that you want this year? Interesting, actually, that my course is the 7 keys, which is about unlocking. Oh, obviously got a subconscious thing around being, you know, the keys and locked and funny. See, I'm starting to understand. See, if we just take this time sometimes, you know, can you see my thought process now? And I'm not literally, I'm doing this with you. I didn't know that. I did not. We don't take the time sometimes to sit and think, how do I feel about this goal? And we get real with ourselves and go, yeah, I don't think this is going to happen really, actually, because of this. Or, And it helps us address that now so we can get out of our way and go, that's just ridiculous. Of course, it's not stuck inside of me. Or if it is, I can get it out. It's starting to, be a bit more rational. Okay, so next question. Okay. Oh, this is an interesting one because Morag says, I feel my voice is locked inside me too. Scared to get going, opening the door. Yeah, good to know now, isn't it? And then maybe you can imagine opening the door and actually it's beautiful and easy and and when we talk about, finding our voice, it's such a beautiful thing when we find what it is that we want to say and what we have to share, especially through our creativity. Because we're all so unique and different. And so when we apply that through art, through writing, through, dance or whatever it is, that's us putting that in. So I'm going off on a tangent. Okay. My mission is a little tap for me to continue. Right. My mission for 2023 is what comes to your mind. So you can write on a piece of paper, my mission for 2023 is okay. Sometimes it just takes a minute for the answers to come, and sometimes you might just draw a blank. And also, like, this is what's happening for me. There are some overlaps in the planning what I've done, but the answers are coming out quite differently. They're especially phrased in completely different ways to my best year yet, where I've been really thinking. So this is really interesting. But what came out for me was my mission for 2023 to be in flow, complete the projects and tasks I have created the goals for. So that goes back to my word, the flow, because last year I felt like everything was difficult and hard, and I kind of just want to feel more in flow when I'm doing things, my projects and stuff, because I think a lot of it was difficult last year, but I think my mindset made it difficult as well. So that's a big one for me. Liz says, yeah, for me, part of reframing that I'm not good enough is letting go of the fear and accepting that not knowing is part of the creative process. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is that part of not knowing and feeling vulnerable, feeling like sometimes we don't have the flag in the ground because there's this moment of uncertainty. We don't actually know which direction we're going in. And there's like a little bit of a moment where there's no flag. Like, ooh, ooh, can be very unsettling. Okay, so thinking about that one goal for the year, what do you need to be, do, have to hit that goal? What do you need to be, do, have? This might be things that you need to learn. It might be that you've got to actually make some time. It might be that you need to start thinking in a different way. It might be that you need access to support of some kind. It might mean that you need physical items. So be do have starting to just think really quickly in relation to that one goal. Okay. I love this from Corinne. Be brave, speak to people. What is the worst that can happen? Yeah, like what is the worst? The worst sometimes is they might be rude to you, but that's them, isn't it? That's not you. I always think to myself, as long as I'm nice and, honest and you reach out to people, and if they're rude and if they're closed off, it's them, it's not you. Oh, you've just reminded me of another one of my be-do haves. I'll share this, in fact, in case it helps, because sometimes this is how people feel about putting their art out into the world because they're scared of a negative reaction because your art is so personal. And I remember the first time I ever had an exhibition, I actually went to the exhibition and this is ridiculous when I say this out loud now, but I kind of pretended the work wasn't mine. And I went around the exhibition waiting for people to stand in front of my work, hovering around, waiting for them to say something horrible about my work. That's how I spent my first exhibition. What an awful way to spend it. Just listening, waiting for people to say something terrible. And I never heard anything terrible, but I was just so convinced that people just would not like it and they wouldn't get it and so this, can be something that really holds us back. And that's one of the things that you've just reminded me of in terms of the book. Because when you do start to put your work out there will be people that won't like it. There will be people that just don't get it. And we do have to grow that resilience towards being able to accept that and accept that there are nasty people out there that will not think about what they say before they speak. And that's one of my fears around the book because when you look at book reviews, people are harsh. And I think when I did my research, looking at the market research for the proposal, you start to see these amazing books and they have been slated. And it's the reality that when I write a book, there are going to be nasty comments. It's just a given. And it's dealing with that, but remembering that as long as we hold ourselves back because we're afraid of those people, we're not sharing with the people that are going to benefit. and connect with the work. And there are people that will love your artwork and be so amazed by what you do, and you're keeping it from those people. And that's the reframe here for me. The longer I hold that back, 'cause I'm scared of those comments, I'm not going to share my words with people I know will help. And that goes back to what I've been saying earlier in this whole process, is you having the belief that your artwork has a place, and it absolutely does. Everyone has a voice, and art is a vehicle and a way of expressing that unique voice that you have. And there is a place, and it can be vulnerable and scary to share that because of these reasons. And so if you can then create the safety net of, when we put our artwork out there, it's likely that I'm going to get a horrible comment at some point, because nearly everyone in the world does, not just me, but everyone. And especially in the world that we live in right now. But what can I do when that happens? And it's about having that safety net of, right, I will, and for me, it's about you keeping a log of the nice comments that have been made about you, so you can go back and remind yourself that there are people that like what you do. It's about having key people in your life that will be there for you. That's why we've created the hub. When these things happen, people come into the hub and say, this person just said this about me, and people lift you up. And it's important to have those people around you where you wobble and you go, it's okay, and you get perspective again. So I've got a big list here about be, do, have. And a lot of it is, and then I put reframing my thoughts. So I've put the book, reframing my thoughts, and then a big long list of the thoughts that I have. And again, a lot of them I knew, but some of them I didn't. I've realised that I'm putting off getting started again. Oh, here's an interesting one that I've written down. Having a deadline with pressure. So that one, well, of course, is ironic because I'm going through Best Year Yet right now and talking about the power of having a deadline. But of course, deadlines can have the opposite effect. And I've written that here without even realising it, that having a deadline is putting the pressure on. But I will set a deadline. But the way I'm going to reframe this one is that I can move that deadline. The deadline is there to get this book done. Otherwise, it's never going to get done. But if for any reason something comes up in life and something happens, then the deadline can be moved. It does not mean that I have to do it and that everything else has to crumble and I have to make myself ill to hit that deadline. So can you see, it's like having a dialogue. It's like having a conversation with yourself, because there are kind of two parts of the brain. And we in our family, it's, I don't know if you've ever read the book, the chimp paradox, which is kind of the part of the brain that feels the fear and is the one on your shoulder chipping away at, you shouldn't do that, or that deadline's going to make you feel pressured. And that's our chimp. And my chimp's called Martha. I don't know why. My chimp's called Martha. Andrew, my husband, ex-husband, is Arthur. His chimp's Arthur. And then the children have chimps. My son's chimp is called is Bruno, and my daughter's chimp is called Sparkles. So when we have these thoughts and we get scared, we just then start to refer to them as the chimp. And it's like, and I say to my son, it's Bruno. Bruno's frightened to go to football because you haven't been for a week. You just need to reassure Bruno that it's going to be okay. And it's like this with me. It's like Martha's scared. Some of you might be tuning out now, like, this has gone too far. But the work that I do with my children, it's so funny because I think I need to do this myself. And so it is reassuring Martha in the brain. Martha's the one that's going, oh, I don't know, Michelle, about this deadline for the book. You're going to feel really pressured. You're going to make yourself ill. You're going to, and like, it's reassuring. I don't have to do that. I'm in control. So go. Here we go. Right, let's move on. I'm rabbiting on too much. Boot camp. We've got to keep moving. Okay. We're not talk about Bruno. No. I love it, Ryan. I know. I sing that song a lot. Okay. So anyway, right. A little reminder, you don't need to have all the answers right now. This is just getting your brain in gear, and it maybe just, is anyone coming out with some things that they didn't realize about themselves? Let me know in the chat if that's happening to you, or is it all stuff that you kind of have been already thinking and it solidifies that, yeah, I'm on the right track. It's everything that I'd already mapped out in best year yet. Okay, so the next question is, what are your top 1 to 3 goals for 2023? So just think now, we've focused on the one thing for 2023, but now just have a little think about those extra ones, bringing those to the surface so that you are very clear on those 1 to 3 for 2023, because you want to keep revisiting, writing them down, because I promise you think right now, there's no way you can forget any of this stuff. And in a month, you will forget what those 1 to 3 goals are. So we're kind of wanting to bring them to the surface, the 1 to 3 goals. Now, I might need to look at my notes. This is where it gets interesting. Oh, I won't talk yet. I'm going to let you just think. This process can really help you realize as well what is important, because the ones that come up are the ones that are important. They're ingrained now. So for me, I have the 1 to 3, which is the hub and the book, and I know I have a third one, and I can't remember what it is. So that just shows to me that either one, it's not that important actually, or two, I haven't ingrained it in my brain enough. I haven't made it important enough because I've forgotten it already, and I only planned this like a week ago, and I've forgotten what the third goal is. So if that happens to you, if you do this best year yet without looking at your notes and you can't remember your goals, either one, it's not important, or two, you need to create more meaning and you need to work on that goal to solidify it and bring it to the surface, because otherwise, if you can't remember it now, you're going to forget it. So I'm going to go and have a look now. I know I've got a third one, but I don't know where it is. So I don't know. What I'm going to do is, on the side of my paper, I just have a little piece here saying to do, and one of those to do's will be to look at third goal. Do I need to shelve it, or do I need to add more meaning? Okay. So you should be able to answer this one really quickly. 1 to 3 goals, what are they? Boom, 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 write them down. If there's any gaps, then you just come back to it. Okay, so with those goals, just really quickly now, just writing them down one by one. These goals, or this goal, means a lot to me because. So take the goal and why, and that's why I can't remember my third one, because I haven't attached enough meaning to it. So write down your goals now. This goal means a lot to me because. Write down in your book. So just a reminder, we are writing down our goals and why this goal means so much to us. So I've done one goal. I'm just going to quickly do the second goal now. It's a good job I don't have the third one because I'll be here all day. I'm just writing bullet points. You might write a story. You might write just words. It's different for everybody. Might just be one thing that you write, that's why it means something to me. Everyone's different. It's got emotional right in mine. Wasn't expecting that, sorry. That can happen when you start to dig into why you're doing this. Okay. Thank you, Claire. It was that I was scribbling away there, and there was just this one last line that's really struck a chord with me in a big way and made me. That's when you know something as well. You know, when you're writing things down, if you feel something, it's like, wow, that is. And you know, this to someone else probably doesn't mean anything, but for me, well, I've written a few things about the book, but as I was writing then, one of the reasons that I want to write the book is to prove to myself that I can do it. And that's just, when I wrote those words down just then, it just brought up a whole lot of things that one of the reasons why I'm doing most of my things in life is to prove that I can do it, because for years I convinced myself I wouldn't amount to anything. So there's a lot in here around me proving my former self wrong. And that just came up massively then, like, wow. Well, not proving my former self wrong, because that's like a negative way to look at it, but it's, I don't know, I need to think about that wording maybe, because it's showing my younger self, look, you did have the potential to do this. Oh my God, let's move on. I'm going to come back to that one when I'm on my own. Oof, I need a drink a minute. Hold on. So I'm going to just add on my to-do list now. I need to come back to why I want to write the book. And let me tell you, actually, that I've had this on my to-do list for 3 years. I've been talking about this in Best Year Yet now, and that one has never come up. Isn't that interesting? Anyway, interesting for me, not for you. Right, okay, so thinking now about these goals, can you quickly just think about how could you turn, and maybe just do this for the one goal, not all three. So the one goal that you chose, you know, the one thing I want to do in 2023, could you turn that into a good, better, best goal in some way? So I'm going to have a think now, and I literally have not thought about this at all, but is there a way of making it kind of measurable and turning it into some kind of good, better, best? And if you need a reminder of good, better, best, it is, you know, achieving this goal this year, what would the best outcome be for that goal? Like I could not even comprehend that could even happen, and I don't know how it's going to happen, or, you know, what would the best version of that look like? And then what's the minimum that I would like from this goal? What's the tiniest, or the minimum? Doesn't have to be tiniest, the minimum. And then in between that is the better. So just have a little think now. You might not be able to think of a good, better, best. I'm just going to quickly think now in terms of the book, what that would look like. So I have, I'm just putting it on a piece of paper with the three lines, good, better, best. And now I'm just going to think, like, I start with the best. Like, what is the best version of this goal? Okay, done it. That was good because I've not considered that before. I'm looking forward to doing, I'm just going to do that one goal for now because I'm realizing the time. So I'm going to write on my to-do list. So you can do this as you're going through best year. Yeah, if it throws up anything that you want to come to, I'm going to do a good, better, best for goal 2 and 3 because that's been helpful for me. So if you do something you think that's helpful, I want to do that for my other goals, write it down on your to-do list. Or when you listen back to best year yet, just pause it. Bootcamp. Pause it and do it for all your goals because we're going to keep moving in this session now. So, this is a good one. Have a think off the top of your head right now. What are the 1 to 3 books, people that you want to listen, follow, places that you want to go to? This is kind of inspiration that I use this. For me, I'm using books. What 1 to 3 books do I want to read? So I have loads of books that I want to read, but what are the 1 to 3 that I'm going to read? And I've started to pull those together to support this goal. So this isn't just stuff that I want to read casually. It links to my goals. It's actually bringing me to them. The first book for me is The Way of the Fearless Writer by Beth Kempton. That's a book that I'm going to put down. And then there's a second one, and I cannot remember. If I've got time, I'll go and run and get it. It's in the kitchen. It's called The Tools, and it was off the Netflix series that I watched. Not a series, it was a one-off with Jonah Hill and his psychiatrist. And I really love that episode. If you have Netflix, go and watch it. It's brilliant. I literally watched it and I was writing things down. And I bought the book. It's called The Tools. That's something that I'm going to be reading. And then someone sent me a recommendation for a book which might go on my to-do list. First of all, I need to make sure it's going to fit with my goals. So it's called Trust the Process by Sean McNiff. That was recommended to me by someone taking part in the workshops. But the first book I read will help me get that first goal off the ground. And for you, it might be a book. It might be going to galleries. It might be going on exhibition hunts, or it could be source inspiration, like the 3 places that you want to go to. It might be podcasts that you're going to listen to in that first quarter. And this is definitely for me, like the first quarter, that's what I want to consume. I'm going to be consuming. So this is what it is actually. It's what am I going to consume to make sure in this first quarter I'm going to hit my goal. Of course, we have the Your What Matters podcast as well. Thank you. Someone's just said that I listened to Michelle's podcast. Thank you, Helen. That is available. It's the Your What Matters podcast. But yeah, it's thinking what's going to help you with fulfilling that goal. So what's a habit that you'd like to form? Now, this is kind of the habits as a reminder. This might be in relation to your goal. So, for example, for me, I know I've got to create a writing habit. I have to now create some structure, and there'll be particular days where I write. And that for you might be the habit if it's making. What habit now will you form? And just if for now, just think of one that you need to form. You don't have to have a big list of 20 habits. What's the one thing? And it might be in relation to your goal. So for me, it would be carving out the time, but more than that is it's the flow. Because here's the thing, I know that it's all good and well me carving out the time to create and write. But when I sit there and it's Tuesday and I'm like, right, okay, this is the time I've carved out. What do I do now? So I know that I've got to dig into this a little bit more. Actually, I think the habits it's what I was talking about in some of the workshops previous, that there have to be some triggers associated with this. It's not just about carving out the time, but it's when the time is important, but what are the associations and the triggers that I will use when I have that time? So where will I be? Where am I going? What will I have with me when I have these sessions? Am I going to be using my notebook? Is it going to be my laptop? Is it, so they're the things I'm starting to think about when I'm thinking about that habit. So it might be related to your goal, which is that example there. So time, hold on a minute, I'm just going to make some notes of my own. So time, and I'm going to put here association. I need triggers like music and environment. Or it might not be. It might be something like guitar. Or no, there's lots of people here wanting to learn a language. It might be something like that pops into your head. This is a good one now. Is there a habit that you want to form that isn't related to your goals? Go now, 1. Because I know I've created like another 5 things that I want to do, like roller skating and this and this and this. And if you just choose one, what's the one? Make one happen. And then, if you've got time for the others, but what's the one? Bring it to the surface now. So you're not overthinking it and not overdoing it. What's the one habit that isn't related to your goal? And then just have a little think. Are you going to do this daily, weekly, or monthly? How often do you want to bring yourself to that habit? You can just write next to it. It's good when you do replicate what you've already done in Best Year Yet as well, because it means it's really solidifying in your memory, which is good. So for me, I know exactly when I'm going to be working on the book. I've cemented it in my brain now, which is really good because I know that I'm more likely to make it happen. Because sometimes you can put things on the calendar, but you still don't do it. But I know now, I'm like, this is going to happen on a Tuesday and a Friday and one weekend a month. So when people ask me if I'm doing something, I'll go, well, I know I'm doing the book on these days. So Okay, right then. So, we got 4 minutes. Like, what are we going to do in the next 4 minutes? Right, let's go. We got one. Okay, think about your money goal. Money, money, money for 2023. Good, better, best. Write it down quickly. What would you like, money wise in 2023? So, okay. I have to do 2 money goals now because one is the goals for United Art Space, and then the other goal is what I want to pay myself. They're 2 separate things. So I'm just going to write my to-do list because I'm going to come back to that. Finally, just on a piece of paper, write down 4 sections on a piece of paper. Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. And you can then start to think about will you have any themes for Q1? So for me, I already think I'm going to read that book of Beth's. I'm going to start to implement that structure for writing, carving out those days. I know there's 2 projects that I want to work on. And so you can start to break that year now into quarters and start to think whether you'll have themes or specific, like you can literally write top line now here what you want to kind of get done in each of those. And you might not have anything down the end, like for the end of the year, Q4. I don't. I'm actually going to just put time off, actually. But that won't be for the whole quarter. I sometimes loosely plan out towards the end of the year. I usually have the first 6 months of the year kind of figured out, still with some flexibility. Second half of the year is just kind of like, oh, I know this is happening. I know roughly this is happening. But I do like to go with the flow. I do towards the end of, Q2-ish, which is January, February, March, April, May time, I start then looking definitely towards the end of the year. There we go. Your actions from here. Carve out time on your calendar to make this happen. So your goal, put it in your calendar. When will you work on it? How often are you going to do it? Drill it in. And then take those 1 to 3 goals that you came up with in this session. Figure out the 1 next to 3 tasks that you have to work on to work towards that goal. Remembering to really hone in on that one, especially. And then take consistent action every month on this, doing a review plan do, which is what we do inside the hub. So inside the hub on the last Thursday of each month, we get together like this and we do a review plan do session. And we review the goals and we review what we're doing and we make a plan for the month coming up. And we do that together every month. And it's how all of our members take, great action and have the amazing success. So if you're joining the hub, you'll be doing this with us on a regular basis throughout the rest of the year. You'll make amazing progress. You really, really will. Especially because you'll have the hub to help break down the steps and give you all the resources that you need as well to help you along the way. So if you haven't joined the hub yet, the link is above. We close enrollment on Friday at 12 noon. There we go. Well done, everyone. Boot camp is finished. You can put your pens down, go and relax. If you want to go back through the replay, pause it at certain points. If you do want to go deeper, if you felt like you were going on a roll, there was some bits in there that I definitely want to go back to and just continue writing on. That's it, my friends. You've got this. Just go through that. That's it. Best year yet done. You can do it as fast or as in depth as you want. So take care and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye bye.